And we are back. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello again.
This is episode 4 of our series on Brian Tracy's Focal Point. And I feel like, well, if the first few episodes were about the mechanics.
The scheduling, the time management.
Exactly, the how-to. Today feels completely different. We're getting into what the report calls the inner game.
It's a huge shift, isn't it? We're moving from, like, the software apps, the tips and tricks, down to the operating system itself.
The operating system. I like that.
This section, I think, is probably the most uncomfortable for a lot of people because it just removes all the external excuses.
Right.
It basically says that everything happening around you, it's a direct reflection of what's happening inside you.
And to kick that off, the report opens with the statistic that I honestly found pretty depressing.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
It says only 3% of adults have written goals and plans. 3%.
Which means 97% of people are just drifting.
Yeah, he calls their goals wishes, hopes, or fantasies. Just
no. It's such a harsh distinction, isn't it? But, you know, think about the difference between a wish and a plan.
A wish is passive?
Totally passive. I wish I had more money. I wish I were in better shape. But a plan is active. And the report makes it clear that this 3%, they aren't necessarily smarter or, more educated.
But just do something different.
They just use a different cognitive process. They don't leave their future to chance. They treat success like a science.
Okay, so that leads us right to the core concept here, the law of cause and effect. And, you hear that phrase thrown around all the time in, like, self-help circles.
All the time.
But the report treats it differently. It's almost like a law of physics.
Because it is treated as a law here. I mean, in physics, for every action, there's a reaction.
Right.
In a biblical sense, you reap what you sow. Brian Tracy's argument is that human success is not exempt from this universal rule.
So success isn't a miracle.
And failure isn't just bad luck. They're both effects. And if you want a specific effect, like, say, financial independence, there are specific causes that produce it.
So if I'm getting the logic right, it suggests a kind of reverse engineering.
Exactly.
If I see someone who's achieved what I want, I don't need to be envious or think they got lucky. I just need to figure out the cause they set in motion.
That's it. Success leaves tracks. If you can identify the steps successful people took and you do them with the same intensity, you will get the same results. It's probabilistic.
But the problem is, most people want the effect without the cause. They're looking for the lottery ticket.
A shortcut, yeah.
But the cause here isn't just about, working hard, is it? Because we all know people who work incredibly hard but seem stuck.
Oh, absolutely.
The report points to something deeper as the primary cause.
And that, right there, is the big unlock in this chapter. The primary cause isn't labor, it's thought. The big idea is this: you become what you think about most of the time.
Okay, let's drill down on that, because it sounds a little bit like manifestation or, The Secret, which can sound a bit woo-woo for some people.
Sure.
How does this report ground it in something practical?
Well, it's not about magic, it's about focus. It just contrasts the mental loops of successful people versus unsuccessful people.
Okay.
Successful people, according to the report, think obsessively about what they want and how to get it. It's all forward-looking.
And unsuccessful people?
They spend most of their mental energy thinking about what they don't want, what they're afraid of, and this is the big one, who is to blame for their situation.
So it's an allocation of resources. If I have, say, 100 units of mental energy, and I spend 80 of them worrying about the economy or replaying an argument, I've only got 20 left to actually solve anything.
And it's actually worse than that. It's not just wasted energy. It's directional. If you're focused on who's to blame, you're reinforcing the problem.
Right, you're stuck in the past.
The report calls it blame-oriented thinking. And it triggers anger and resentment, which literally shuts down your creativity.
Whereas optimism?
Optimism is described as the best predictor of health, wealth, and longevity. But, and this is a crucial point, optimism isn't a mood, it's a muscle.
Mental fitness. I loved that analogy in the report.
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't just expect to bench press 200 pounds if you haven't been to the gym in a year.
Exactly. And you can't expect to be resilient and solution-focused if you haven't trained your mind. You have to put in the reps. You have to exercise that muscle by deliberately replacing a worry with a thought of a goal.
Okay, so if it's a muscle, let's look at the workout plan. The report details 7 specific mental exercises to build it.
It does.
I think we should walk through these because this is the really actionable part. The first one is called idealization.
Right. And this is where you just take the brakes off.
What do you mean?
Well, most adults, we stifle our own potential because we're, realistic to a fault. We look at our bank account and say, oh, I can't do that.
Been there?
Idealization asks you to imagine you have zero limitations. No financial caps, no educational caps, all the friends you need, all the resources. If your life were perfect in 5 years, what would it look like?
So you're defining the destination before you even think about the road conditions.
That's it. And the trick here is to keep your list purely about the what. Don't get bogged down in the how yet. Once that dream is crystal clear, then you switch gears and ask, okay, how would I achieve this?
And that how question changes everything. It flips your brain from passive to active.
It turns it into a solution-seeking missile.
Which flows perfectly into exercise number 2. Think about your goals. And this brings us back to that 3% statistic. The report uses this phrase here that I need you to unpack it for me. Psychoneuromotor activity.
Yes. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it?
It really does. What is that?
It's actually a real neurological concept. When you physically write a goal down with a pen and paper.
Not typing on a phone.
No, physical writing. You engage your hand, your eyes, and your brain all at once. It activates a part of your brain called the reticular activating system.
Okay.
And in simple terms, writing the goal down flags it as important for your subconscious. You literally start to see opportunities related to that goal that you would have completely ignored before.
So the act of writing is like the programming language for your brain.
That's a great way to put it.
And the report gives a 7-step formula for this. I think we should just run through them quickly because this is really the how-to for joining that 3% club.
Absolutely. It's a roadmap.
Right.
Step 1, decide exactly what you want. Ambiguity is the enemy. You can't hit a target you can't see.
Step 2 is that psychoneural step. Write it down. If it's not written, it's just a wish.
Step 3, set a deadline. Your subconscious mind loves a deadline. It creates urgency. And if it's a huge goal, break it into sub-deadlines.
Step 4 is making a list. Everything you have to do to get there, the reality check part.
Step 5, organize that list into an actual plan. What comes first? What's the priority?
Step 6, take action. Immediately, just do something.
And then step 7, which I think is maybe the most important one for consistency. Do something every single day that moves you toward that major goal.
Okay, I want to pause on step 7. Do something every day. That seems to be the killer for most people, right? We get all excited and make a big plan on Saturday.
And by Wednesday, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And we haven't done a thing. How do you overcome that?
Well, that's where momentum dies. Tracy argues that the daily action doesn't have to be huge. It could be one phone call. It could be reading 5 pages of a book, sending 1 email. But it has to be non-negotiable.
It just keeps the goal warm in your mind.
It keeps the cause and effect engine running.
Got it. Okay, exercise number 3. Commit to excellence. This one sounds daunting. The report says you should resolve to join the top 10% of your field.
Yeah.
For someone listening who feels like they're just struggling to keep up, isn't that a bit discouraging?
It can sound that way until you read the disclaimer he adds.
Which is everyone currently in the top 10%, starting in the bottom 10%. Every single expert was once a total novice.
So the line is always moving.
The line is always moving. If you just get in line and stay there, you will eventually get to the front. But you have to identify the bottleneck.
The bottleneck.
Yeah, the report asks this one key question that really struck me.
Okay.
What is the one skill that if I developed and did it in an excellent fashion would have the greatest positive impact on my career?
Wow. That is a clarifying question.
Isn't it? And what's funny is we usually know the answer immediately.
It's the thing we're avoiding.
It's the one thing we're bad at. Public speaking, negotiation, whatever it is that we procrastinate on because it's uncomfortable. But that avoidance is the very lid on our potential. The report says you have to attack that one skill.
So instead of trying to be better at everything, you go after the one thing that's holding you back, which leads right into number 4, focus on results.
This ties back to what we talked about before with the 80-20 rule. High achievers don't just work. They obsess over output.
Activity versus accomplishment.
Exactly. They're constantly asking, what am I actually being paid to accomplish? It is so easy to answer emails for 8 hours and feel exhausted. But if none of those emails moved a key project forward, you produce 0 value.
And the high-value work is usually the hardest work. Which brings us to number 5. Concentrate on solutions.
And this is the opposite of that blame-oriented thinking we mentioned.
Right.
The technique is a reflex override. When something goes wrong, and it always will, our reflex is to ask, why did this happen? Or who messed up?
Or why me?
Why me? You have to override that and immediately ask, okay, what's the fix? The report says life is just a continuous stream of problems. Business is problem solving.
The only difference between a CEO and an intern is the size of the problems they solve.
That's it. If you want to earn more, solve bigger, more expensive problems, focusing on the solution makes you positive and creative. Focusing on the problem just makes you negative and angry.
Okay, number 6 is my personal favorite, and it's got a great story with it. Dedicate yourself to lifelong learning.
Ah, yes. The idea that your mind is a muscle comes right back here. If you stop learning after school, your mental assets just depreciate.
And Tracy's very aggressive on this point, isn't he?
He says if you aren't upgrading your skills, you're automatically falling behind, because the world is always moving forward. But he gives this stunning example of the ROI, the return on investment of education.
The story about the guy earning $30,000 a year?
Right, he's struggling, basically living door to door.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes this small investment.
What was it?
He bought a $60 audio program on sales techniques. Now, $60 isn't nothing, but it's the price of a nice dinner. And he didn't just listen to it once, he studied it over and over.
And the result was staggering.
10 months later, his income hit $300,000. That is a tenfold return.
A 10x return.
On a $60 investment. And the point isn't the specific amount, it's the leverage. One good idea can be repeated thousands of times over a career.
And that's where he introduces the university on wheels.
This is maybe the most practical hack in the entire report. The average person spends between 500 and 1,000 hours a year in their car.
Which is equivalent to 1 or 2 full university semesters.
Think about that. You are sitting in a rolling classroom. If you just switch the radio from music to educational audiobooks or, podcasts, you're essentially getting a PhD in your field every few years for free, just by using your commute.
It's turning dead time into learning time. I love it. Okay, finally, exercise number 7.
Do it now.
The enemy of all this is procrastination.
You can have the best goals, the best plan, the best knowledge, but if you don't have a sense of urgency, nothing happens.
So do it now is a mantra.
It's about creating a tempo. Successful people move fast. When they see an opportunity, they pounce. When they have a task, they just get it done. Action generates energy. Sitting around generates fatigue.
That is so true. So looking at all 7, idealization, goals, excellence, results, solutions, learning, and urgency, it's like a complete mental operating system.
It is. It's designed to move you from that 97% of wishers into the 3% of creators.
Okay, but we always want to give our listeners one specific micro habit. If they can't do all 7 today, what's the single highest leverage move they can make?
I would combine exercise 2 and exercise 6. Let's call it the scholar of your own life habit.
Ooh, I like that.
Commit to the university on wheels. Starting tomorrow morning, turn your car into a classroom. But here's the kicker. Keep a notebook in the passenger seat.
Why the notebook? Can't you just listen?
Remember that psychoneuromotor activity. If you hear a brilliant idea while you're driving and you don't write it down, it's just gone. A wisp of smoke.
It evaporates.
But if you pull over safely or wait till you park and you write it down as a specific goal or an action item, you've captured the value.
Yeah.
Input from the audio, output onto the paper, that's the bridge between learning and doing.
That's super actionable. Buy a notebook, put it in the car. Done.
It's simple, but over a year, you'll capture hundreds of ideas that would have otherwise just disappeared.
I love that. Okay, to wrap this all up, I want to anchor us with a power quote from the report. Which one stands out for this topic?
It has to be the one from Bertrand Russell. He said, the very best proof that something can be done is the fact that others have already done it.
Yeah. And the report pairs that with one from Lincoln.
Right. That some have succeeded greatly is proof that others can as well.
It just removes the mystery.
It tells you that your goal is not impossible. Someone else has already navigated the path. You just need to find and follow the tracks.
So the summary for today is pretty clear. Success follows the law of cause and effect. The primary cause is your dominant thought pattern.
Discipline your mind to focus on solutions, on excellence, on growth. And the effects, the results, are basically inevitable. It puts the steering wheel right back in your hands.
You're not a victim of circumstance. You're the architect.
Exactly.
I want to leave our listener with one final thought to chew on before our next deep dive. We talked about reverse engineering success, but let's flip it for a second.
Ooh, okay, try this. Look at your life right now. Your current bank balance, the state of your relationships, your physical health. If you were to reverse engineer those effects, What were the specific thoughts and daily habits from 3 years ago that caused them?
Wow, that is a heavy question. It forces you to own the bad stuff right along with the good stuff.
It does. But the moment you admit you caused your current reality, you also prove to yourself that you have the power to cause a new one.
And that is the perfect place to stop. We are going to continue this journey through Focal Point next time. If you found value in this deep dive, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We'll see you then.